Hey guys, welcome back to a tutorial series on making the game Snake in Minecraft. And this is Jaren, by the way. So in the last video, we put together this new data type that represents a snake part in the Minecraft world. And it's going to be really handy because we'll be able to have all these different snake parts that are connected and move around just the head, and all the other pieces are just going to follow. And in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to try to test it out a little bit. So we're going to see if we can put together a snake and maybe move the snake around in a particular direction and make sure everything so far works. All right, so the first step is, why don't we just declare a new snake part, and we'll call the new snake part head. So I'll get this variable, this set variable block from the variables, and then declare this new head variable. And then inside the variable, we're going to store this new snake part function call. So this new snake part function call is going to sort of dispense another snake part, because remember, it's kind of like a snake part factory. That's how I imagine it. And so the first thing we have to specify here is what we want the snake part to be made of. In the demo, as you saw, I made the head out of beacon, but why don't we just change it up a little bit? Why don't we just make the head out of ice this time? So let's see, there's the ice. So we'll stick ice in there. And for the drone, let's make it a new drone. So we'll just say new drone is going to be the drone that's used for the head. For the previous part, let's just not put a previous part for now. All right, so for the previous part, we'll do false. And why don't we mod this and then try it out? So here's my Minecraft instance up. Get the new mod, and then we'll run it. Awesome. So it looks like the ice block spawns when we run the mod. It doesn't look like much, but that's actually a snake head, believe it or not. Alright, so let me switch back over here. So now why don't we try adding another snake part as a tail. So instead of false for the previous part, let's actually make another snake part as the little tail. So instead of ice, just so we can differentiate and make sure that this thing is working, let's do an iron block. Okay, so he's going to have a head of ice, and then that head is going to have a tail part out of iron block. And then for the previous part there, we'll just do false. So this will be the end. This will be the tail. And then let's mod that and then just test that out. Okay, so back in Minecraft. So try to guess what's going to happen when I run it. Well, it looks like it's just an ice block. So we don't see an iron block yet. And the reason for that is because we're not moving the head around. So the head is actually blocking the tail. So you can only see the head. So how are we gonna fix that? Well, we can tell the head to move a particular direction every so often. That's probably the best way to do that. So let's go to events, and we'll tell the server to do something every so often. We get this block, and we'll tell the server to do a function. And what this function will do is it's going to tell, we'll get this block here, it's going to tell the head to move around. So I get the head there, and inside this little text bit here, we're going to put move. So on head, call move with some location. Where are we going to tell it to move around? I don't know about that. We might need another piece, like another drone, so that we can use that drone as a reference point to tell the head to move in that to that particular drone. So what I usually call that kind of a drone is a cursor. So we're gonna declare a new drone. We'll call it cursor. We'll set it to a new drone, and this cursor is going to be sort of like the next step for the snake. So we'll tell the head to move to the cursor, and all the other little tail parts are just going to follow along with the head. Okay, and So every so often we're going to tell the cursor to move. So tell this cursor to move. Which way do you want to move the snake? Why don't we move it, let's move it backwards just to mix it up a little. And we'll do this function every 1 second. So every 1 second, the cursor is going to move backwards, and then we're going to tell the head to move to the location of the cursor. Location of the cursor. There we go. All right, so I hope you can get that whole picture there. So we run it, and then let's see what happens when we actually run it in Minecraft. Let's do time set day. Cool, looks like it's actually working. So the ice is the head, the iron is the tail, and the tail is just following along with the head, just like we expected it to. It looks like it's working pretty well. That's nice. All right, let's try riding on it a little. Looks like you can ride the snake around. That'd be a cool like parkour game. Maybe make a game where you ride around on a snake and have to jump on different platforms and stuff. Look, the snake is just tunneling through the ground right here. It's pretty cool. Awesome. Okay, so let's do one other thing with our code here. You can hear that zombie in the background. So let's do one other thing with the code. We could just build our snake like this, but that's not going to work in the long run because we need a way to sort of dynamically add to the snake. This way works if you know exactly how long you want your snake right from the start, and you don't really want to add new snake parts to it. But we need a special way to add new snake parts to the head, and there's a nice way to attach a new snake part to the head. And so the way that you can do that is, here, let's get rid of this and just plug in this false here again. So the way we'll do that is we'll store a reference called, we'll create a variable called tail. And at first, the tail is going to be set to the head, okay? So at first, the tail is the head. But when we want to go and add stuff to the head, what we'll do is we'll attach a new tail to the current tail, and then that new tail is going to become the tail. So each time we want to add a little bit, we're going to add to the current tail and then make that new tail that we just added the new tail. All right? It sounds a little confusing, but I'm sure you'll understand it once we put the code together here. So at first the tail is set to the head, right? And why don't we make our snake like 10 pieces long, including the head. So we have to add 9 parts. So we'll get a loop that happens 9 times. We're going to add 9 parts to the head. Okay, so the first step is inside this loop is we'll set a variable called new tail. Try not to get distracted by that zombie, okay? So we're going to set a new tail to a new snake part. And why don't we get rid of the ice? Let's make the body of the snake. Let's not make it iron block again. How about lapis? Yeah, let's do lapis block. And previous part's going to be false because remember this new tail is going to become the new tail, and the tail is not going to have a tail, so it's not going to have a previous part. So this new tail is going to be a new snake part, and then what we're going to do is we're going to put this new tail as a part of the existing tail as the previous part. And so we're going to need this block here, and miscellaneous, we're going to get put value blank called name in variable. So we're going to put the value of the new tail called previous part in the existing tail. So the new tail is going to be the previous part of the current tail. And then the last thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to want to set the tail, the global tail value variable to the new tail. All right. And that should grow our snake to being 10 long. And this is a nice little method of adding a new tail part to the running snake. Okay, so let's remod that, and we should now see a nice 10 length snake. All right, so here we go. Let's run this, and we should get a snake that is 10 long. It sort of creeps out of his hole here, or his spawn point. Nice, it looks like he's about 10 long. He should be exactly 10 long. It's hard to tell when he's moving. Maybe I can do this. Here, I'll clear my intervals and we can just test it just to make sure. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect, 10 blocks long, just like we expected. Awesome. So I hope you enjoyed following along there, and maybe you could try changing this up a little bit, maybe changing the direction or changing what the snake is made out of or how big the snake gets, and just experiment with this. All right, so in our next video, what we're going to do is we're going to put together a way to keep track of where the snake is on the game board. So we're going to make a new game board object, actually, or a class. And it's going to be very much like the snake part, except it's going to store a game board that our snake is going to go on. All right, thanks for watching, guys.